Hey all. Well, it's November 8th, 2022, which can mean only one thing, which is that it's election day, the midterm elections for all the House of Reps, I don't know, maybe a third of the U.S. Senate, and of course, like something like 30 governorships, which means that there's a lot of state houses that are up for grabs this year. Honestly, I want to say I can't wait for it to be over. I'm really concerned about the partisanship, about the breakdown of our country's institutions. I have very little faith in our country's institutions. And although I've never particularly doubted elections, I think a lot of people are starting to worry on both sides that the election will be stolen from them, which is really premature considering that ballots have not been counted yet. Just sharing some video with you from just a drive through my little town in the upper Hudson Valley of New York. We have a governor's election today. We have an unelected governor, Kathy Hochul. She was the lieutenant governor when Andrew Cuomo resigned in the summer of 2020 for sexual harassment allegations. And Kathy Hochul is running against Lee Zeldin, a congressman from Long Island, who I think has outperformed the expectations of him. If I had to put money on this race, of course, being a very blue state that New York is, I would put my money on Hochul, and that's unfortunate because she's not a good governor. She's actually just like the man who preceded her. In fact, they call her Cuomo 2.0 here. Zeldin has run a decent campaign, a better than decent campaign. I mean, the man has been all over the state. He was very underfunded from the beginning. He's had to deal with everything from his ties to Donald Trump, which definitely are there, to his questioning of the 2020 election, although I believe he voted to certify the results. And his positions on certain social issues. He voted against so-called marriage equality in New York State, which 20 years ago that wouldn't have even been an issue. And he's, due to his own personal circumstances, has expressed a very pro-life position, although he's acknowledged that in New York State there's really not much that can be done about it. I I have his campaign sign outside of my house. I was a Democrat for years, but I have seen this state really just get hard as a parent, as a taxpayer. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people who are considering picking up their tent pegs and leaving New York. Many already have. In fact, this has been a big part of Zeldin's campaign, is asking Governor Hochul to explain why so many people are leaving the state. And I think some of the biggest issues are the response to COVID, how much that has whacked our kids. I know having, a special needs child, it definitely affected him to be wearing a mask, to have lost some of the services that he is entitled to under state law that we pay for, too, with our tax dollars. And New York City, a place where I used to live, is just, I don't even recognize it anymore when I go down there with my other boy. The crime is just insane right now. And so this is a much tighter race than I think people had imagined. In fact, the Hochul campaign has been scrambling the last couple of weeks because I don't think they know where this one is going. I don't know if they can really trust the polls that have them up sometimes 8 points. I've seen 14 points. I've seen as few as 4 points. So they've been going out and courting different demographics last week, really trying to pick off the vote of the Hasidic Jewish community. Why they would come out and vote for Kathy Hochul at this point, I do not understand. COVID fell very hard on religious, particularly Orthodox and Hasidic Jews. And Hochul she's been kind of squirrely about it, but she has a looming vaccine mandate for children in New York. Who knows where that will go, but the precedent is there that if the legislature approves it, it will become law. Her daughter, interestingly, is a pharmaceutical lobbyist. But anyways, I know there's a million videos on YouTube right now about the election. I don't really know what to say about it. I just wanted to show you some of the video of, the drive around town. I live in a place where probably most people are voting for Zeldin, and I think, it's great to look at the signs and to see the support. And I know in New York City there has been a lot of recent support for Zeldin, but it does remind me of 2020. You'd see these big Trump rallies. I mean, they were huge, and Joe Biden was campaigning from his basement, and it does give you the illusion of perhaps more support than there is. I even went to a rally last week, just the first time I've ever been to a political rally. It's not my cup of tea, really. And, there was definitely enthusiasm for Lee Zeldin. It's much more palpable than it is for Kathy Hochul. I mean, Kathy Hochul is about as interesting as paint drying, and she has some pretty strong authoritarian tendencies to her that turn a lot of moderate Democrats off. But I wouldn't put my money on him, and that's too bad. I think he's run a good campaign. But anyways, wherever you are in this country, whenever you watch this video, I guess we'll see what happens. All right? God bless.